dog has a sticker, but it's attached to his fur, so he won't let me get it.
Sit in my lap where I talk about books.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Okay, so this is gonna be a long video. I can already tell. These make me so anxious. I'm gonna be doing a monthly wrap up, but of August and July, because when I tried to film July, it was a mess. It was a mess.
It was such a mess.
So we're just gonna, you know, we're gonna combine. I will talk about, I guess, the books I read last month. So if you're interested, I feel like I read around like 30 books, 32 maybe. So if you're interested in seeing what I read, then please stay tuned. Also, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Okay, I only read one physical last month. I traveled from Georgia to Arizona, so it was a 3-day car drive, and I just couldn't buy any more books, so I read a lot from my Kindle, which I currently don't have with me. But I do know what books I read. I will talk about the first physical one first. The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. This book was so good. I gave this book 5 stars. This is a perfect book for like the transition between summer and fall. Like if you are ready for fall romantic comedies and you just love the atmosphere that fall is, this. It gives off the exact same vibe of like When Harry Met Sally, those older kind of romantic comedies, quote unquote older examples, like The Bodyguard. And then also 10 Things I Hate About You, that kind of energy. This reminds me of that. Oh, I read Minx. Yo, I believe it's by Sophia Lark. Oh, that book. Meow. That book was so good. I didn't really expect much from it, but I ate it up. She's an escort, but she's like tippity top of escorts. She is everyone's lucky charm. And then we have this billionaire. He sees her and is like, ooh. He wants to be her only client, and that dynamic, it's amazing. Oh, and even the subplot's good. I swear I've never read anything like it, and it's so good. It's on Kindle Unlimited. Check it out if that's your thing. If it's not your thing, stay clear. And then I read His and Hers. That's actually a very dark transition. His and Hers,
I had no idea what I was reading.
or even getting into it. That book, read at your own discretion. Like read at your own risk, because that book has some really dark subplots. I thought going into it that there was a wife and husband, someone got murdered, we're trying to solve it, you know, some bad stuff happens. No, people are getting murdered left and right, and it is like around the same type of woman, and they have like trying to catch a serial killer. There are so many secrets. And when you start peeling back the layer of that onion, oh no, it was so disturbing. Oh, I didn't even say who it was by. It's by Alice Leaney. She did a really good job writing it. The plot twist was great, but the actual story, it's just, it is for you or it's not for you. So yeah, I read The Fourth Wing, which I have a whole reading vlog on, but I did say in that I was gonna give it 5 stars. No, I thought on it a lot, and I'm gonna demote it to 3 stars. Well, I mean, I already did demote it to 3 stars because it really is meh. I don't think I need to tell you the plot of Fourth Wing. It's a dragon college, survival of the fittest. You either live or you die. Dragons will choose you or not choose you. I have 2 really big problems with it. One, the actual setting is so weak. Like the foundation for it, I said it in my vlog too, but I thought something was wrong with me. The world building is weak, so weak. And I actually like Violet, our main girl, but Xaden, no. Xaden folds too fast, and I swear by the end of the book he is a different person, and not in a good way. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I feel like I'm trying to get these reviews done in like one breath. Rock, paper, scissors. Also by Alice Feeney. I fell asleep twice reading it. I don't even know how to explain it to you, and I'm honestly not even gonna try and explain it. You're just gonna have to go into it and enjoy the ride. The plot twist, I actually, while I was reading, I was like,
oh my god.
like, I was sitting next to my friend while I was finishing it, and because we were talking about it, she wanted to read it too, and I was like, dude, this plot twist just absolutely blew my mind, and I had no idea it was coming. I was wondering where on earth we were going with this. Just be warned at the very beginning, it is very slow paced. Then, I read Done and Dusted. This book was cute, it passed the time. I wish that there was more of a subplot. It focused so much on the romance, which I mean, it's a romance book. But I feel like we could have like gotten to know our characters just a little bit more. So yeah, I gave it 3 stars. I think she rides horses? I think she rides horses. It's an enemies to lovers. He owns a bar. She rides horses and they're family friends. Yeah. Some of these I forgot I read. Hooked. Actually, July was a really good reading month. I read Hooked. And by read Hooked, I mean I listened to Hook. That book, I really liked it. I really liked it. One of my favorites in the series. It is a fractured fairy tale based on Peter Pan and like Wendy, Captain Hook. But Emily McIntyre, what she does is she kind of like goes in and reconstructs the world so it's not the same. There's like little homages in there, and it's really good. It's for 18 and older. It is for 18 and older. Please, if you are younger than 18, I would not recommend reading this. The Wizard's Guide to Baking. To Defensive Baking. The Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking. Okay, that one I gave 3 stars. It is one of those very low stakes, fairy tale, mythical adventures. It's not for me. I'm not a big fan of low stakes, I realized after reading this, and I think there was one other book that was like really low stakes, and I was like, you know, my dog's still trying to work out the outside area, so he got lost. And he just came to my doorstep and he was like, all right, what was I saying? Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking.
Yeah, it was low stakes. I gave it 3 stars. We're gonna wrap it up like that.
All right, Throttled. Part of the Dirty Air series by Lauren Asher. Listen, I would actually recommend just reading Throttled. The rest, I could not even get through the first like 35 pages of those. They were all pretty rough, especially the second one. My god.
An actual man-child. An actual man-child.
Hi, chicken. Oh. It's about race car driver. He's like the F1 toppity top race car driver. And then we have our main girl who is the sister of his rival. And it's a pretty good romance. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars, I believe. It was an easy read. The characters were great. I loved his character development. That was my favorite part because he became a simp. And I love when men become simps. All right, then I read Forget Me Not. Now, Forget Me Not was on my most anticipated read list, which is quite unfortunate because I hated that book. I hated Forget Me Not so much. Literally nothing happens in that book. The plot went absolutely nowhere.
Nowhere.
And the characters, I swear, they seemed like they didn't even like each other. It was honestly very frustrating to read. She's a wedding planner. He's her ex, and then also he's the florist, and they're planning a wedding together for, I believe, her mother. So yeah, and the dynamic was rough. It was rough. Life's Too Short and the Happily Ever After playlist by Jenny Jimenez. Life's Too Short was good. I actually really enjoyed it. The plot was she's dying from a disease, sickness. It's hereditary in her family. She thinks she's gonna die before she turns 30, and she's a huge YouTuber. She just got custody of her sister's kid. Now, next door is our main guy, and he's a lawyer. He assists her with the baby, like getting the baby under control, things like that. It's a friends to lovers. It's really sweet. I really enjoyed the plot and the relationship. It was funny, it was sweet, I liked it. Happily Ever After playlist. That is a tongue twister. Started out good. I actually really liked it. He is a rock star. She's an artist. I really hope I'm not confusing that with another book. But it was so messy after the first half. It got to a point where me as the reader really did not want them together anymore. So first half was good. Second half was messy, messy, messy. Ooh. The nanny. She used to do OnlyFans. Then she became like a child, not a psychiatrist, a pediatrician, I think. Then she became a nanny. But the dad of the nanny used to be her like top fan in OnlyFans. Once they start getting to know each other, then they start like realizing their chemistry. It, you know, gets very spicy. Look at it.
It's so spicy.
For me personally, I was a little uncomfortable with her going from nanny to sleeping with her dad. And also the characters, I swear they had no chemistry. Personally, I gave it 2 stars. It's something that you could pass on. I think there are just better romantic comedies out there that have just better plots and better writing. I finally finished Home Before Dark. I was listening to that for, I feel like 2 months. I just finally finished it, and honestly, I gave it 3 stars because I wanted it to go in a paranormal way. Sorry, that's probably a spoiler, but it was such a disappointing read. The ending sucked. It sucked. While the story was going on, it was building up to be like this actual paranormal activity mystery, but it was not, and it was really disappointing. I feel like I really liked Lock Every Door because even though it wasn't a paranormal activity type of deal, it was so out of pocket that it was good. The rest of his stories have been like a, could it be paranormal? We're going paranormal. Just kidding. That I can't stand. I'd rather it go in a paranormal activity way. But that's a personal preference. So to each their own. If you don't like that paranormal activity kind of vibe, then his books are definitely for you. Then I read The Stolen Heir, which is a spin-off duology from the Cruel Prince series, The Folk of the Air. I gave it 3 stars because it's quite disappointing. It follows Oak and then another girl. She's part of the Kingdom of Teeth in the 3rd book, I believe. I'd recommend reading the Folk of the Air series and then reading The Stolen Heir because it makes more sense. But I mean, it was okay. I feel like I liked the characters a lot, but the plot was repetitive to the other books. Oi, oi, oi. He's just, like, he doesn't even, man. So those are all the books that I read in July. Now let's get on into the books that I read in August. I do have actually physicals. These books I have videos on. So I read Crossed. I have a whole video dedicated to that. It is a fractured fairy tale version of The Hunchback of Notre Dame with love from Cold War. I have a whole separate reading vlog on this as well. 2 people who don't like each other, enemies to lovers, co-workers who come together to save the place that they love, which is Cold World. It is a magical wonderland that's in Florida. They're working together to renovate it and make it a popular attraction. Love theoretically. I'm pretty sure you know what this is about. I mean, I don't. Rival physicists collide in a vortex of academic feuds and fake dating shenanigans in this delightfully STEMinist rom-com from the New York Times best-selling author of The Love Hypothesis and Love on the Brain. I love this book. I gave it 5 stars. This put me through all the emotions. I have a reading vlog dedicated to this as well. There is an apartment that's kind of like a magical apartment. It allows the person to go back in time 7 years, and 2 people find each other at a 7-year difference, and it was really, really good. I gave it 5 stars. I love Ashley Poston is actually one of my new favorite authors, and I will read anything that she comes out with. It's so good. So good. And then Not Here to Be Liked. She's running a post for her school newspaper, but an ex-jock kind of comes into the picture and he just starts running. They give it to him. There's kind of like a debate about feminism and also misogyny. This is one of those books that people should be talking about more. This brings to light a lot of good topics in a way that is very easy to understand. So yeah, it's really good. I personally wish that I had something like this when I was younger, because this was really, really good. Very informative. Loved it. Oh my god, I read Divine Rivals. That's one book I believe should be hyped. That book was so good. Enemies to lovers, but the man falls first, and it was so good. Oh, it went in a direction that was just so amazing. I don't know how to explain other than that because I don't want to spoil it for you. And if you haven't read it, it's on Kindle Unlimited as well. If you have Kindle Unlimited, please go check it out. By Rebecca Ross. So good. The second book comes out December 6th of this year. I'm gonna be devouring that book. One of the best like romantic fantasy books I've read in a while. I also reread The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. 5 stars. Honestly, I feel like reading it a second time wasn't as good as the first time, but Jax. Ooh! Yo, I'm a simp for Jax. Oh, woo-hoo! He's so good. And their dynamic, amazing. Ooh! When they go into the hollow, yo, just rip out all of my organs. I just read this. One for My Enemy. Based on Romeo and Juliet. Carrie can read. She said that this was one of her 5-star reads, but I personally gave it 3.5 stars. It's very lackluster in my opinion. And also the beginning it's very confusing. But some of the elements in this were so good. We have like Baba Yaga. She's one of the witches, and her family, they run like a beauty boutique store in Manhattan. And then we also have Koshi, their rival, and it's kind of like the Montague and the Capulets, that kind of dynamic. Now that aspect of it I feel like was oh, I read Every Last Secret by A.R. Torre. That book is actually really good. The dynamic that everyone was serving was amazing. I totally forgot I even read that. Very rich man with a rich wife. They have their status. Then we have this new couple that moves right next door, but the girl is really trying to hone in on the rich man. The dynamic was great. Love the plot twist. Okay, I'm gonna talk about it. I attempted to read Haunting Adeline. I read about like 50% of that book. 20% was for funsies because it was just nuts. This is not for me. Stalker, there's just assault in this, and rape, which is not for me. There's just a lot of hypocrisy that's happening in this. He is such a hypocrite, and it really irritated me. I couldn't get behind it. It's not for me. Oh, and then I read The Stars Collide and also read Between the Lines by Rachel Lacey. These two were so cute.
They're so cute.
Talk about like healthy relationships. This is great. 2 pop stars come together, one older, one younger. There's an age gap. Then we have Read Between the Lines, which was so sweet. She's an author, like a secret author in the real estate business. Her company is demolishing the bookstore that is currently there, who is run by our other main character. Clearly like enemies to lovers, but again, a healthy relationship, and also a really good example of an emotionally mature relationship where they have their own separate things going on and both of them know that no one's really at fault. So yeah, give me 1 second. I have to charge my battery because I've been talking for way too long. I only have 2 books left, but also my mother is here. So I will be back. I'm back, and I made coffee for the last 2 books, but I basically already drank coffee because I drink coffee like Jimin drinks champagne. Yes! I'm gonna save this one for last. Okay, so I read Chasing 13, the 867-page book. Don't mind him if you hear him. He probably sees something he wants to see. Yeah, I actually really liked it. I think I gave it 5 stars, but the thing is, like, 5 stars feels like too much, but 4 stars seems too little. And so does 4.5, like I just don't know how to rate it. Maybe like a 4.75 or 4.79. Yeah, we'll do that. I don't think I know how to explain it. He's a rugby player. This takes place in Ireland. I actually do have a reading vlog coming out. Not this next one, but the one afterwards. It's in the works. I have already filmed that part. It just felt like I've never seen One Tree Hill, And nor do I know the premise of One Tree Hill, but it felt like I watched the whole season of One Tree Hill in that book. And am I gonna read the second one? Yes, because Gibbsy, you'll understand as soon as you read it, but Gibbsy is my favorite character, and I cannot wait for his book, because this is a series. It's supposed to be 8 parts. There are 4 books out. Claire and Gibbsy come out April 24th, 2024. I need to read their book. Their dynamic is precious. I love their dynamic so much. I don't even know how. It's not enemies to lovers, but they've been childhood friends. I'm more excited about their book than this book. But this follows 2 babies. 17-year-old, oh my god, what's his name? No! I'll put it on the screen. And then, oh, I forgot their names, no! But there's a 15-year-old and 16-year-old, and it's their love story. It's about like teenage heartbreak, and also 2 people who are from 2 opposite sides of the track, kind of like one is very rich and then one is very poor. An abusive household, so bad. Like this girl gets bullied so bad, trigger warnings to the max on that, like parental abuse. I guess, is that considered domestic abuse? Abuse all the way around board. Their love story is chef's kiss. It's so cute. But you know, like they're teenagers, you know, like they get a little snippy, a little blah blah blah. That part was quite annoying, but I mean like the last book I read was God of Malice, and I gave it 5 stars. I am so ashamed, but I'm also not, because if you've read this book, you know. Will I be continuing the series? But I don't really care for like 2, I think like 2 or 3 of the characters. I want to read, there's one, and I'm gonna put it on the screen. I think it's the 3rd or 4th book. And then also the next book out in the series, because it's not completed yet. Their parents also have a series. So God of Malice, he's a psychopath. Like a legit psychopath. He just doesn't feel things the way that other people do. Like he cannot feel emotions. He's learned his emotions since he was young. He's a part of a frat group who all of them are kind of crazy. Mafia, some stuff goes down. Our main girl, she's an artist. Her mom's an artist, a famous artist. Dad is, I think, a part of the Mafia King. 2 rival colleges. If you do not read dark romances, if that is not your thing, please, I beg of you, go into this. Like, the first 12 pages are nuts. First 12 pages are, I swear, something happens. Trigger warnings, I guess, like, there's assault, there's rape, there is all around the board, not great stuff. I don't know the exact trigger warnings, but look them up, because this book gets wild. It's so spicy, and some of it is very questionable. My like defense is she is okay with everything that's happening. That's how I like justified reading it and being like, oh yeah, I had a good time. My friend thought I was nuts. I told her what happened. It made me really queasy. I hate that word, but I'm gonna use it. It's out there, I'm just gonna go with it. At the very beginning, like I said, first 12 pages, I was not ready. I didn't think it was gonna go there, and it did. Be warned of that. And so yeah, that's what I read in the month of August and also the month of July. Yeah, my TBR is coming next because I've been talking for like 40 minutes. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please comment down below what you've read, what you like, and honestly, I want to say comment down your like guilty pleasure read, but that might be too much. But if you do, let me know. Alright, that is all for today's video. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye! Bye. Bye, 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 bye.